Welcome to the Get Published podcast, sponsored by Brodie Consulting Group. To get more information about our coaching, publishing, executive ghostwriting, and podcast production services, go to getpublishedpodcast.com. Hello, I am Paul Brodie, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Get Published podcast, where we help authors get published with a proven system that works. Today, we're being joined by Ben Gothard, author of CEO at 20, a little book for big dreams. Ben, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Paul. I really do appreciate you inviting me on.
Are you ready to get started?
Absolutely.
All right, my friend. Question number 1. What is the one piece of advice that you would give to a first-time author who is currently writing their book?
I think the most important thing for your very first book is to know that your best is good enough. And you just have to keep plugging away at it and keep working at it. And eventually you will create a product that, like a work product, that you're proud of, right? And if you just keep going with it and you work on it a little bit every day, and what I like to do, especially when I'm in a heavy writing mode, is like to wake up, write for 30 minutes, at least 30 minutes every single day, and then try to get another 30 minutes in before I go to sleep, and just keep up with that pace over time. And eventually you will have a very powerful momentum building experience to where you can really dig deep and bring out what you need to bring out. And then, of course, working with editors is very, very important too. So once you bring out that raw potential, I would highly suggest working with editors that you trust and that know you very well to help you refine and polish your voice.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I feel the best investments you can make with a book is really two main things. One, having a great looking book cover, but also having a well edited, professional looking book. Just makes all the difference.
Absolutely.
Well, what do you feel is the hardest part about getting published?
I think really what it comes down to is, and it almost sounds ethereal, but finding your own voice and really bringing out something original and bringing out something that hasn't been done before. I can't tell you how many books that I've started reading that just seem to be a way less than adequate regurgitation of information that's already been packaged and sold. So, it's just like taking bits and pieces from other sources and bringing it together, not in a unique way, in a way that it's almost just aggregating content without putting your own flair to it. Now, I'm not saying you have to be the next Socrates with original thought at that level and that quantity. But what I would highly suggest is that you think about the greatest books of all time, and then you think about how much of that was based on other people's stuff, other people's writings. So in addition to doing research and getting inspired and reading a lot, I really think you have to dig deep and find your own unique thoughts, right? Bring something new to the marketplace. And I know you asked about publishing, and it's relevant to that because when you bring something new, that is something that's enticing to a lot of people. And when it's enticing to a lot of people and a lot of people are going to buy it, that will make it easier to get published. Now, there's a nuance here that I believe separates the good writers from the people who publish books that go on to impact hundreds of millions of lives. And that is to make sure that the way you're presenting your thoughts and the topics that you are speaking on and what you're talking about and what you're writing about, that you're creating something that's evergreen and that is timeless. Think of the Iliad, the Odyssey, the Republic. Think of Think and Grow Rich, How to Win Friends and Influence People, The Intelligent Investor. These books are timeless. Whenever you read them, regardless of whether it's 10,000 years from now or 10,000 years ago or today, they are still impactful, they're still profound, and they are massively, massively helpful and illuminating. So if you can focus on that and make sure that's the level at which you're bringing your content to, then getting published is not a matter of, oh, I really hope I can get published, to who do I trust to distribute and publish this book in a way that can match and live up to the quality I've already brought.
Well, let's talk about marketing. So please share a marketing strategy that you have used in your book launches that has worked well.
It really goes back to what I just said. I mean, you have to make your book so damn good that people share it with their friends. I mean, think of how many people will tell their friends, you have to read Think and Grow Rich. You have to read How to Win Friends and Influence People. You have to read so on and so forth. If you're not, the people you get it in the hands of, if you're not getting them to share by virtue of your work, your piece being that strong, then, you know, it doesn't matter how well you market it, because you're just you're packaging something in a way that, you know, it's not going to keep spreading, right? When you stop marketing it, it'll stop spreading. But if you build it to where it is inherently share worthy, meaning it's that level of quality, then not only is that going to spread, but it's going to spread for a long time, and people are going to want to read it more than once. You might even have people buying multiple copies over their lifetime, both for themselves and for other people, and then telling other people about it and talking about it in a way that it can't help but be successful.
Well, let's talk about your favorite book. So what is your favorite book, and what was the number one thing that you learned from it?
My favorite book by far is How to Win Friends and Influence People. And clearly, I've been talking about it a lot. The reason I think it's so powerful is because it's timeless, it's evergreen. There's never going to be a time when you don't need to know how to work with people. So that is an example of a book that's going to live on for centuries and centuries and impact people profoundly for a very long period of time. And also, I happen to be particularly interested in the study of people and understanding people, becoming more adroit at working with people, and being a better person and a better leader. And I think because of my desires to grow in those areas, in those ways, that book is just the perfect book and embodies my philosophy, or a lot of my philosophy, on working and dealing with people.
And for a final question, what is your favorite quote and why?
I have a few that I want to share. The first is, "This too shall pass." And the reason I love that is because, to me, it's a very optimistic quote. To me, that it gives people who are going through a bad time hope that they will be able to get through it. And it gives them the strength to work through it, knowing that there will be something better, that will pass. And for somebody who's going through a good time, to me, that really highly encourages those people to be grateful for that good time and to be able to recognize how good they really have it, and the duality of that is very inspiring to me, and it's how I try my very best to live my life. Now, the second quote is something to the effect of, and this was on Andrew Carnegie's epitaph, something to the effect of, "Here lies a man who surrounded himself with men cleverer than he." And again, that goes back to working with people and being able to work with other people to, create a situation where everybody wins. That to me is how I try to do business and how I try to go about my life. And I think there's an infinite amount of wisdom in that quote that, again, timeless and evergreen, and can continue to serve those who truly explore it and study it and try to live by it for generations to come.
Well, Ben, I want to thank you for being a guest on the show. What is the best way for people to find you online?
Yeah, so I think the best way is to either search my name, Ben Gothard, or the Project Egg Show, and just explore the resources I've put together. I'm not going to sell anything or pitch anything, but I would highly encourage you to come join me on my show and join the conversation, because one of the things that I'm really focusing on is creating meaningful dialogue that will serve people for generations and generations to come, right? I'm not interested in learning tactics that are going to work for the next 3 months. That has a place. It's not my show. I'm really trying to pull out lessons and principles and philosophies that can serve you and everybody that you come in contact with for years and years to come. So I would invite you to come join me on the show, join the conversation, and let me introduce you to some really incredible people like billionaires and New York Times bestselling authors and Emmy Award winners and everybody in between.
Well, Ben, thank you once again for being on the show, and I wish you all the best in your author journey ahead.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Paul.
Thanks again for joining us today. To learn more about how you can be featured in our brand new Get Published business book, go to getpublishedpodcast.com.